culture is dynamic. It always happens. But I think in this society, South Africa, I think it's much more important than anywhere else in the world because culture has to do with people and it has to do with issues. And the issues here are fundamentally human rights. And artists cannot divorce themselves from this challenge and say that they are artists for art's sake and have nothing to do with politics. And as somebody has said quite eloquently, politics in South Africa is all pervasive. Everything you do is political.
Black thinking is very important now. I think this is high time that our critics here, no matter who they are, understood that, you know, when a black person sits down and writes, he writes about the true factors of life, of things that are really, you know, happening to him.
One could use maybe the analogy of Dr. Martin Luther King, who said, we'll live together or perish as fools. And one wouldn't like to say we should perish as fools. I think we should live together without undermining perhaps the pertinent questions that have to be raised and answered, like racism, which has been entrenched from a very early age.
We can no way, you know, try to run away from the politics because we are part of it. We are part and parcel of politics as an oppressed people in this country. You cannot dodge raindrops on a rainy day. I liked that expression.
We can't let the 18th century be passed on to the 21st century. We can't do that. And that's what racism is all about. And for us to confront racism, I think we should do it through the arts. I tried to tell a story without, you know, selling myself or the community. I tried to tell a story that would provoke the victims of apartheid more than frustrate the perpetrators, you know. So for me, it had to start at home, this kind of introspection. I had to tell a story which would even, you know, shock a lot of oppressed people. That why should we criticize ourselves? Why should we even condemn necklace killing? Why should we not condone it? Now I'm saying that if you condone it now, are you also going to condone it after liberation? What would stop you continuing with that kind of action? And so I'm saying that we may have reasons for our kind of actions, but I don't think we have justification for behaving abnormally. It is an abnormal society, but we are not abnormal people. We need to understand that it's continuity in our history, that the struggle has a long chain, you know, of issues, events, personalities, and we all have to just put them together to understand where we are going, because this is what the play is trying to do. So it's throwing everything into the melting pot of reality, as the saying goes in the play, and says that, well, we have to stir it. And stir it where? How else? We're going to get something that is not edible.
Mkhulu, speak! You've come at the right time. The nation is dying, Mkhulu. The drought is upon us. The political drought that is.
I know. And so do we all. That is why I'm here.
Mkhulu, just look at me today.
So he's going through this trance, young Colin. And during this trance comes the old man. And the old man says, "You called?" And he says, "Did I?" The old man says, "Yes, you didn't call me now. You called me when you were still a boy."
Listen, young warrior. In Nigeria, which is another country, Yama Africa, with millions of cousins, there is a proverb. It's seen to among the Yoruba tribe. When the person who knows no disasters hears weeping, he thinks it is song. Be that as it may, once upon a white man, there was a settler vulture who crossed the seas to conquer and divide this land of ours. Uninvited, mind you. But our foreparents did not fold their arms and smile like demented fools as these ravagers and scavengers tore up our country and our people. We fought, and we fought heroically in Ndakalela.
Now, this mythical character takes him along the decades, along the 3 centuries, generations. And throughout that kind of revelation, we see where he comes from, what role he played as a praise poet. Well, that's what you call an imbongi, right? And that he was, yes, a warrior during the wars of conquest and so forth. So we use him as a canvas to paint a story. And through him, we began to understand the process of oppression.
Take, for instance, King Bambata, Ikawe Lamakawe, Ubaba were resistance, son of Africa. Next he said to London's arrogant demands to poll tax, heart tax, dog tax. Your spirit of rebellion still burns among the 3rd generation of the resistance. Baba Bambata, Hawe Lamakawe, sibonisa indlela yenkululeko. As has been so eloquently stated by Brother W.B. van Schoor, a people seeking their emancipation should know and understand the process of their enslavement.
I, humble man-child of the earth, proud son of Africa.
Hey, Joe.
Ah, Africa, birthplace of mankind. I, singer of the voiceless, ringer of freedom's bells, ijoni le struggle of the landless, imbongi yesizwe jikelele. Ndiyabuza mawethu, ndithi singobani na? Who are we? Are we human beings or slaves? Huh? Who are we? Are we warriors or mice or spies? Man. Who are we? Are we fools or tools of liberation? We are, help man, we are...
Old Makanda gallantly defied the settlers. We salute Makanda, the left-handed black swallow das.
Atayi, ataletepu. Uqanqwada phezulu umkhonto awungeni iquthu likatayi inkonza nemnyama edlala emafini iquthu elimxashe.
Who are we?
We are not servants. We neither are slaves.
We are nobody's playthings.
We are not machines.
We are Abantu.
Our wisdom to mankind is isintu.
However, in 1936, Selby Msimanga observed that since whites had flirted with our loyalty, disowned us and called us rebels, and therefore no longer part of the South African community, and if we refuse to be made slaves, then we should seek our emancipation from this bondage, this neo-colonial yoke, by any means possible.
It's a spirit. It's a living person, not in the flesh. It's in the mind of the warrior. And this myth is the one that threads, and puts together the story at the very end, because it's through this myth we begin to understand culture. And for me, culture is supposed to be ritual, which is something you do every day. It is something that is almost like a key to your problems. Because if you don't know your culture, there's no way you could unravel the mysteries of the world. And the mythical spirit is the one that helps the warrior understand himself, and even perhaps understand some of the things he didn't understand during his young days, during his warrior days.
Roar and clang, you machines of the mind. Roar from morn till darkness falls. Bellow, you frenzied bulls of steel, till one by one worn out you rot. When we agree to leave our huts, beheaded like oxen and forget we're men, we left behind our millies and creamy milk to eat the slummy, soggy porridge. Our manhood diminished and known as boys. Almighty spirits of heaven and earth, will you not end this vile oppression? Oh, see how day by day this land is being plundered by those who seized it. These foreigners who enrich themselves, while my deprived black brothers are landless, penniless, empty-handed. How loud you roar, you hush machines. My hands are torn, my feet swollen. Subdue your thunder. I long to sleep, enwrapped by ancestral arms.
It's about coming to terms with reality, and it's about bridging gaps ideologically, politically, and culturally. It's a search for a myth, something to hold on to, something to cling to, something that would give even the most hopeless case hope. And I think it is a contradiction in many terms, because it does not resolve issues, it actually raises them.
Yeah, the message is unity. For instance, there's a song, Vugani Mawetu Masimanyane. That means, awake, my people, let's unite. Because as it is now, we keep on scratching each other, and then instead of uniting and being united in the struggle, let me say.
In the land of the black man, the African man, many African men had to appear in the European men's courts, charged under laws drawn up by the Europeans solely to promote European supremacy. 3 African warriors had to be humiliated by the Europeans in their courts in Africa. This is Chaya.
Chaya mkhulu, Chaya.
My lord, we find ourselves here in this foreign country, convicted under laws of people whom we've always considered as foreigners. We find ourselves tried by a judge who's not our countryman and who has not shared our background. It is the deep feeling of all of us that should not be tried here in Pretoria. You, my lord, decided that you have the right to try us because your parliament gave you that right. Now that ruling has not and could not have changed our feelings. Without impugning your personal integrity and honor, your worship, we refuse to plead.
Even though I now happen to be tried by one whose opinion I hold in high esteem, I detest most violently the setup that surrounds me here. It makes me feel that I'm a black man in a white man's court, and this should not be. I should feel perfectly at ease and at home with assurance that I've been tried by a fellow South African who does not regard me as inferior, entitled to a special type of justice.
Our grievances are called so-called grievances. Only one who is not white and has suffered like we have can say whether our grievances are real or so-called.
We believe in one race only, the human race to which we all belong. The history of that race is a long struggle against restrictions, physical, mental, and spiritual. We would have betrayed our human race if we had not done our share. We are glad to have made our contribution.
It has not been very easy for me during this past period to separate myself from my wife, my children, and say goodbye to the good old days when at the end of a strenuous day at the office, I could look forward to joining my family at the dinner table. Instead, I take up a life of a man who's continuously hunted and haunted by the police. I'm living separately from those who are closest and dearest to me. I'm continually facing the hazards of detentions and arrest in my own country.
My co-accused and I have suffered. We are not looking forward to our imprisonment. However, we do not feel that our efforts have been wasted. We believe that human suffering has effects even on those who impose it.
We stand for equal rights for all individuals. But the whites have to accept allegiance to Africa first. Once a truly non-racial democracy exists in South Africa, all individuals, whatever their race or color, will be accepted as Africans. As individuals, we do not count. We are but the tools of history which will always find new tools. We are not afraid to face the consequences of our actions, and it is not our intention to plead for mercy. Thank you, Your Worship.
Abantwana be-Afrika bakalela izwe
Mkulu, what is justice?
You've got a point there, young man. You've got a point. Come to think of it, justice is a dream unfulfilled for the oppressed, exploited, landless African man and woman, that is.
Auntie Manfombi, they think I do not know that they have taken away my sister. They think I'm blind because I'm confined to this damn wheelchair. They think I do not know that they have taken away my brother. They have picked up my father too, and how he did struggle. And now they have taken my mother as well. Why don't they take me along and finish me? Why don't they come and complete the mess they have started? Why don't they come and get me and kill me? Can they just shoot me straight and let me die? And now I am myself sitting here like a pensioner, yet I'm only 17. I'm alone in a crowded city like Soweto. I by myself in an overpopulated world. I've got friends who keep their friendship at arm's length. Yeah, because I'm confined to this damn wheelchair. My girlfriend, she does not come often like she used to before I got to where I am now. How I miss her sweet kisses. How I would take her into my arms, cuddle, fondle, caress her until she could bear it no longer. I miss those days at school when I would twist the girls' arms and steal kisses from them. I miss the times when I would run to school every morning because I had overslept. All that has changed now. I sleep lightly nowadays, if I do sleep at all. I'm almost awake, even in my sleep. I miss those days when we would go for a swim at the Jabafu swimming pool with our girlfriends in their bikinis bought by us. But this thing, this bullet that's embedded in my spinal column won't let me be. It just won't let me to run around with the other boys. This bullet only wants to imprison me. It only wants to use me for what I do not know. But I'm not going to let it. I'm not going to allow a silly bullet to control my life. My mother cannot be molested and humiliated in my presence like this, and I not do something about it. Yes, I must do something. I must do something. I'm going to do it for you, Mama. Trust in me. I owe it to all people like me. I must do it for myself, for humanity's sake. Yes, I must do something. I'm going to try. You. I'm on my 2 feet now, Mama. I'm not going back to this wheelchair. No, it's gone, it's gone, it's gone, Mama, it's gone. I'm not going to disappoint you, Mama. I'm not going to cry. Now just look at me, Mama. Just watch me walk. On you.
The inspiration behind this play is a person named Shumin Tutu, who used to be a musician, a saxophone player in the band the Allied Swing Stars. He was imprisoned for about 15 years on Robben Island for political offenses. And I was a journalist when he came out of prison in 1979. And he told me this story about this incident on the island when he tried to form a band. Ibrahim had written an exposition on music being a healing force and how music can heal, how musicians dispense medicine through music. And I began to listen to the song Lakutshon Ilanga more and more. And each time I listened to it, I began to understand what Dollar Brent was saying when he said the music is a healing force. And the story of this musician on the island started echoing in my mind, and I had to look for him, and fortunately I found him and asked him to relate more in detail what had happened. And the more he spoke, the more I started hearing the music on the island. A week after I'd seen him, he became ill and went through some depression, an echo of the past, During his imprisonment on the island, he used to go through these bouts of depression, and I had thought that the story and the song was lost. But the week thereafter, he recovered, and he was able to relate the story and the song note for note. And for me, that was, I would think, a breakthrough in the search for a meaning. And the rest, I would say, is history. Lilies to My Wife is a true story from the island, and it's about a man who was imprisoned, and on the day of his imprisonment he had bought a bunch of flowers for his wife on their anniversary, but the arresting officer was quite rude and took the bunch of flowers, saying that you as a black man, how can you buy flowers for your wife? Took the flowers and dumped them in a dustbin and arrested him, for his political involvement. And for a long time, this man could never tell his wife what he had bought her on their anniversary. And he began to have a relationship with the seagulls and communicate through them this message. And that's how the poem was written. Take these lilies to my wife. Tell her how much I miss her. Tell her that, I had bought her something on our wedding day, and here I am, missing her.
Oh, you seagull soul brothers and sisters of mine, take kindly these lilies to my wife. Deliver safely these lilies to Nikiwe. Tell her it's better late than never. Tell her they're still as fresh as they were 20 years ago. Tell her, you sister seagull, how you've been my nautical wife. No, not naughty second wife. How you've tended to my spiritual needs. How brother seagull became my yacht mate, guiding me through depression and reflection. Tell my wife our marriage make my heart grow fonder as I recall her warm embrace, her warm soft lips, her sweet aroma. Oh, you seagull soul brothers and sisters of mine, if only I could again hear the ringing voices of children, their carefree pitter-patter, their cheerful liberated laughters. Oh, you seagull chommies of mine, greet my brave warrior son Kola and his sweet innocent sister Sibulelo. Complete this mission the arresting officer buried in a dustbin on our 10th anniversary. Deliver these lilies to my lovely Nikiwe, please. An unprecedented abundance of cement, below, above, and all round. A notorious capacity to retain cold, without an equal facility for warmth. Inside is captured a column of air and a solid mass of human substance. A pertinent question poses itself. Which loses heat to which?
Damn it! Look at the palms of my hands, Johnny. Corns all over. One might think I use them for walking.
Hey, there's a price for everything, man.
Hey, you fucking think you got a problem, eh, Sandy? Check this out. I'm standing in the fucking queue this afternoon, just about to get my food. And that fat gat walks up to me and he says, hey, what's wrong with your jacket? I check myself out. Before I could tell him anything, he says, no fucking food for you, and he fucks off.
And that bloody wheelbarrow would not cooperate with me. You saw me, Johnny.
Yeah, man.
I had to carry everything on my back. And you're complaining about your palms with corns.
Die donder verkryven, my broer. The whole fucking day. Break my heart. The whole day, ek sê, man. Hey, no, you guys. Yes. Hey.
Danke. No man, thank you for the treat.
Slap taxi. Kuja. Ai. Usobalega welo kwacha usobalega sanus. Usobalega welo kwacha. Hey, you stupid! Hey, what are you doing?
I'm practicing.
For fuck's sake, not at this hour, man. It's already at night and it's raining cats and dogs. To the extent you're even waking up cats and dogs. Can't you still get me into trouble with the city officials, man? Yeah. I don't fucking know what cats and dogs have to do with sleeping, Wakiti. You must never call me that. My name is Fanelo, okay? Okay, Mfanelo. Wakiti. We've both been here for a very long time now. Almost 10 years. And you still treat me as if I'm the enemy. Can't you see we're in this together?
Wat nog nooit, ek sê? You're on the wrong side of the fence.
You're in the enemy camp.
Okay, guys. I'm only here because it's a job. It's a job. My 5 children and my wife were starving in the Transkei. She left me because she could not live with a man who did not bring money home. Ongapangeliyo. Osoloke Jiga Nilanga. She said she could only come back to me if I can get a job. I had to leave home to find a job. That is how I've left the Transkei and came here to Cape Town. But when I got here, I only found that most of the jobs were given to plain white colors. You know this thing, man.
Preferential treatment is the word.
That's it. How did you know that?
What do you take me for, man?
Hey, you're clever, man. Now tell me, do you expect me to leave my wife and my children to starve forever?
That's not the point, man. The point is you are not in the side of the people, the side of history.
Yeah,
Wakiti, you too very soon will be behind these bars, ek sê.
Where there is no water, there is no life. In the one hand, spiritual nourishment for those in struggle. On the other, practical self-help projects for the poor communities. As a nurse of developmental work in the rural areas, I came face to face with the real harshness of apartheid in all its brutality. Unequal health care, 100% subsidy for whites, and peanuts for my people.
But nothing seems to have changed for the better.
Perhaps if we had been in tricameral parliament, we would by now be swimming in apartheid luxuries.
And then have to apologize publicly for it.
The other day, my aunt who lectures at Vets Medical School exposed the health scandals Nomalanga earlier referred to. She said the government was spending a miserly 45 rand per day for blacks at Baragwanath, the biggest hospital in the Southern Hemisphere. Whereas 300 was spent in an Afrikaans hospital. It's a shame, I tell you!
Truth, Bob, it is a shame. And the name of that shame is
apartheid!
You'll soon be sorry, girls. How? Litchabile!
Sometimes you frighten Mrs. Ntombi with your ever-changing moods. One must always be on one's guard with you.
Of course, Kishapaka left to get cruel Hambi. Don't think you'll ever finish your story, Nomalanga, as we are going.
There's no harm, man.
In South Africa.
That's why we're still in chains.
How would you know? When you were born only yesterday, my girl, where were you when we, with Bolili and Masidi Bangoi, Albertina Sisulu, Helen Joseph, Florence Mkiza in particular, marched to Pretoria to protest against the passes? When we left our babies in the care of our menfolk in our tens and thousands in 1956 to tell that straight-on bloke that he had struck a rock when he struck the woman. Where were you? When we African women raided the beer halls in Vienna in 1929, risking arrests and fines in our bid to rehabilitate our useless menfolk from the curse of drink and the white man's weapon against us, a people. We were assaulted by the corporation's male constable, but we did not mind as we were fighting for our rights. Our rights to rescue our men from the curse that is Uchwala. The same curse that is tearing the black nation apart, man. The same curse that is enriching the white man, sending him smiling all the way to the bank.
Ooh. When would I have got such inspiring free history lessons? All you had to do, Tsidi, was ask. You young girls need to acquaint yourselves with the great sacrifices made by some of our resilient and resourceful grandmothers. Pioneers like Charlotte Maxeke, who was instrumental in the formation of the AME Church, and by so doing, triggered Ethiopianism movement and African nationalism. I am empowered. Life is not just beauty contests or latest fashions and the decadent styles of clothing.
We are not poor carbon copies of the missus.
We are not other people's shadows.
We are images of Africa.
Yeah. I never meant to provoke you. I'm also against beauty contests. Some people call them cattle parades. Yet my elder sister is crazy about them. Any nice time, that I'll admit. Maybe you should finish your story, Nomalanga, before you go off track.
She's trying to avoid a direct challenge. And how?
Okay, Tsidi. About the Mapinike people near Kuduman.
Kuruman.
Eman Matsidiso. Kudumane. That is the real name, not the distorted version.
Just like Mukhalisbek was changed to Makhalisbek and Kalahadi to Kalahari.
This is getting interesting. Go on, girls.
Okay. The Mapinike people had to battle against not only Bandustan collaborators, but also the hostile environment, especially the scarcity of water. They lacked natural streams.
Typical of rural South Africa.
Then how did they draw water?
Now you are beginning to ask sensible questions, Macy.
You see, before, they depended on homemade windmills. However, if the wind did not blow, then the villagers could not draw water. And for a week, there was no water. Meaning, no water for both animal and man.
In first world South Africa.
The sight of those neglected villagers and their dying animals convinced beyond any shadow of doubt to dedicate myself to the total liberation of our people from all forms of deprivation.
In the land of plenty.
It amazes me how the marginal people of the countryside could be wished away by the powers that be. And yet, when whites in the cities run out of water for a few hours, then the state declares these group areas act pockets national disasters.
Because we are not voters.
No, but the church tells us we are all made in the image of God.
Even according to Genesis, they
never mind what the so-called Holy Bible says. When our ring. Don't tell me about Abraham, Matthew, Jacob, Johannes.
Are you all right?
All right. Yes, I'm all right. Okay? I'm not all right with praying to the God of Israel blindly. What about the gods of Africa? Bokamata.
Yes, yeah.
The gods of our forefathers. The gods of our grandmothers.
Why should we honor me? Why can't we say hail Masidi Bangoi? Hail Mamana Yo Twarang Tibaka Fabuchalim. Blessed and revered art thou among mothers and daughters of the soil. The seeds you planted shall surely bear freedom fruit.
Is there anything wrong with this?
No, but by Antibiza.
Abo.
Hey, gents. I think we're a bit harsh with Wakiti, man. I mean, umfanelo.
I got what he deserved, man. He's a bloody sellout. Finish and club.
Aye, Muffs. John is right.
Aye.
Yeah, man, we're careless with our tongues.
You old topies can never make up your minds about anything, eh?
The struggle did not begin in 1976, or in Sharpeville, no, with the Defiance campaign.
And it is not merely about Klep Hoyer's Olympics, oh, bro.
You just jealous, man.
No, this fucking naive,
No, man. You two are rather being harsh on poor Muffs, man. Give him space and he will sure grow.
Give me space. I don't need space. I'm not from outer space. I can create space for myself. I'm a young lion, not dried up like you here. I tackled the bull by the horns and tame it, me no law.
with stones.
A lion that throws stones may brood
and lose lives unnecessarily.
Hey, there are always casualties in any struggle, yo.
As long as you are not that casualty.
Hey, Ohlangi, but Omaf does have a point there, sir.
He's offside.
Admittedly, my brood. But the kenners von power, the young lions as they were then called, transform the face of this country and give the oppressed people a new sense of direction in the resistance, I'd say.
Granted, but at what cost? Without the support of the whole community?
Hey, we are not snobs like you old toppies here. And we are not for capitalism either.
That's free speech. That's democracy in action.
No, nothing of the sort. Some of the most undemocratic people I know always parade themselves as Democrats in quotes. They are more of Democrats.
Hey, I don't need to go to the varsity to understand the struggle. I'm part of the grassroots.
Bordering on the weeds.
Well, some people can't separate grass from weeds.
You know what? The struggle desperately needs brains more than brawn. We can't forever be shouting, Haman,
go to Sekhat, man.
Yeah, and all that stuff as if the struggle depended on slogans only.
Hey, don't apologize for being middle class, man. Defend yourself.
Of course not. What? There's nothing wrong in being an elite. Hey, of course there's everything wrong in being guilty of elitism.
Oh, that's now Greek to Mavsex.
You guys are actually arguing about nothing. Yeah, this intellectual jive
I didn't
of yours.
expect that from you, Hlangi.
I believe in action speaking louder than words.
And what's that supposed to mean, Ohlangi?
Stop the castles.
That's right, comrades. The struggle needs doers and not thinkers.
Hey, you mean all action and no planning?
You all toppies have been planning for so long. You've even forgotten the original strategy.
Which is?
Come
on, defend yourself.
Johnny, help.
To destroy apartheid, sir.
And what about the national question?
What national question?
Yeah, you old cop, you're letting me down, man.
And the young lion who claims to be of leadership qualities.
And why have you been so quiet, Wenathangi?
It pains me to see you arguing daily like this, so divided.
I don't mind them, Manthangi. The time has passed. They've wasted theirs in delegations and petitions to Pretoria and London. We fight.
But all that was not in vain.
You two are turning against me, eh? Backspinning just like that. Bloody shifting spanner.
Hlangi is doing the impossible. Arguing with you in a rational manner.
If you chaps were musicians also,
then what, Hlangi?
Then I'll teach you about harmony, about preaching gaps musically. I'll even teach you to read music, about self-discipline.
Hey, Hlangi, they're both vocally wounded. Just try me, man, the original voice of the voiceless. Always in perfect tune. And that's it.
Self-praise. Anyway, I'm interested, Hlangi. You know, I'm always intrigued by this phenomenon called jazz, music of pain and struggle, and how musicians claim to speak from the heart, singing freedom songs.
Hey, count me in, bro. Do I first have to check it out with my embassy? I'm in my section for clearance, man. You know we just can't cross the floor at random.
Nonsense. Do you consult your embassy to go work in the
I think
quarry?
this guy, man, has a valid point, but there's no argument about this.
Comrades. In 1976, we all got together. Eh? We sang together. We threw stones together. There was no Zulu, no Machanga, no Mapedi. We all worked as one big unit, man.
We are not talking about stone throwing here.
Discord! You guys are already in Discord. Nevertheless, the band I'm talking about needs input from everybody, regardless of ideology. Jazz has no boundaries or limits. It is so exciting during improvisation.
Now, if it's talent you want, count me in.
I doubt whether a band backed by stone throwers can go far.
Hey, Mpilo, if that is your attitude, my bro, then I don't want to be associated with this fucking band. You're always calling on mouths, man.
You jumped into wrong conclusion.
Hey, my bro, in fact, I don't like your fucking politics. It stinks, man.
There you go again, ex-teacher, running away from the topic just like that. No wonder you're always having problems with your studies.
Hey, you cut my studies out of this. It's none of your fucking business.
What is my fucking business too, man? Because whenever your studies frustrate you, I have to become your psychologist.
Pilo, you're not my father, man.
Please.
All right, Trotsky John, I'm the father you never knew. Don't you ever forget that.
Oh, there goes your band, Hlangi.
What wrong did I say, Papa?
Is anything wrong, John?
Oh, yes. I'm so glad I met you at last. You went away so suddenly. Mom always spoke about you so tenderly. She still misses you. I fucking miss you too, man. Hey, I've seen some of your photos. People say, I look just like you. Chief of the old block, they say.
Excel, oh, man.
Hey, shut up, you fucking stone thrower.
Man.
Hey, you tell me, have you remarried? Any children? But Advocate Mr. Max, how are you? How's Exile? How's Havana? How's Moscow? How's fucking Peking, man? Where the fuck did you run away with Mom, sister?
Okay, it's all right, John, man. Just pull it, man. Relax.
Excel, oh,
Just
man,
relax,
oh, man.
Don't worry, John. The sun will set, and the moon shall reappear. The cattle shall come back home.
It's an intellectual play, true enough, yes. Heavily so, and I think one is not very apologetic about the fact that it's intellectual, because I think we've had too many things which have been too obvious. So the play actually attacks the mind. The composer of the song Lakutshon Ilanga was ahead of his time. He composed a love ballad which today has political connotations, you know. Now, this was not a politician trying to write a song. This was an artist going beyond the pain. And for me, the play is supposed to go beyond the pain in search of that myth which holds us together. Like the song says, one day the cattle shall come home. Doesn't mean, you know, oxen just trotting the streets, you know, but it means something bigger than just a tangible thing, but hope. And that hope can only come through when you can hear the melody, when you can hear the harmony in song, and when you yourself can realize that, you know, in spite of apartheid, you are a human being, and you do not exist because of the regime in any country. And I think this is the universal message, you know, that the play is trying to portray, that it makes no difference. It could have happened anywhere in the world. The same story.
Lakutshon Ilanga, Sakuburi Komo, Takutika Lawe, Lakutshon Ilanga, Yakuveli Nyaka.
And it really was indeed a marathon royal for the men to be allowed to form a music band. The teething problems were there all round. Inmates from the other sections were initially skeptical and some reluctant, ideologically, but the persistence of Ambassador Hlange was endless. Eventually, he was given the go-ahead by all the embassies. But then, the real battle had just begun. Opposing musical influences and ideologies had to emerge, thereby throwing everything and everybody into the melting pot of reality. Or was it merely a pipe dream, an impossibility?
O ye ancestral spirits, why do you desert us? Why do you allow the settler vulture to dwell among us and tear apart our fragile unity? O ye royal raiders, are you still suffering from a mental colonial hangover? Why do you sacrifice the children to save the adults? Why? Why do you condone brother fighting brother, sister fighting sister? Nina izinyanya.
Ah, Africa, to whom past, present, and the future are one, the mother of humanity, the father of all creatures, the child of revolutions. Today, Western man rules you from the cradle. If you doubt, ask the children, the African children, the children of tear gas and bullets, the detention children, the children who are re-examining Jehovah and rediscovering Umvelingange, Kamata, Nwali, Mwari, Mudimu wa Africa via Badzemu.
Don't be so dead silent, Lona Badimu ba Africa. Just be reasonable and reclaim your noble roles of showing us the way. And teach us to be humble once again, now that the settler vulture appears to have turned some of us into his animal cousins.
And that, Africa, is the ultimate liberation.
The vulture, if you throw the vulture in a chicken fowl run, it's going to tear apart because it's stronger. And I think it craves violence. The more it tears apart, the more it wants to do that. And that kind of violence for me is counterproductive. You know, as I said, it traumatizes those who are watching. They might not be acting, but they're watching, right? But they can't watch without some feeling of either remorse, I think, or support. And if it's support, then heaven help us.
We are the daughters of Baba Bambata Ekawe Lamakawe. We are the sons of Mkhulu Makhanda Kanxele Atayi Atalete. Uzobuya. Uzobuya. His spirit lives in our hearts. It throbs. It beckons us. It says, Vugana Africa ma. You vigilante vulture. The sun will set for you too. Ulibambe lingachoni.